Mojang have removed a lot from Minecraft over 15 years. Here's every feature Mojang removed or rejected, including blocks, items, biomes, and even hedgehogs. Yep, this little hedgehog was a pet that could follow you around by rolling in Minecraft dungeons, a Minecraft spin-off that Mojang are no longer supporting. Sadly, they probably won't add it to the main game, leaving it lost to time. And this is the copper horn, which was added to Bedrock in 2022, but got removed less than a month later. There were 10 versions, which could each play 3 unique sounds based on the direction you were looking. Mojang said they removed it because it didn't quite live up to their design goals. This might be the cutest mob you'll see all day. Meet the teacup pig. This little guy was planned for Minecraft Earth. It would have been able to sit in flower pots, but never got added because they shut the game down, leaving the teacup pig and loads more exclusive mobs lost to time. How could they scrap that? Mojang need to re-add it immediately. Actually, this could be the cutest mob you'll see all day. Ducks were rejected by Mojang, with the official reason being that they're not all they're quacked up to be. The truth is probably that they're too similar to chickens, but they did make it into Minecraft Dungeons, so this is probably what they'd look like if they were in the main game. That game actually had loads more cute mobs we'll probably never get in the main game. There's the skunk, the toucan, the raccoon, the mole, the red panda, 2 types of ferret, and even the guardian vex. Wait, who put that there? That's more scary than cute. Speaking of scary stuff, you're in an ancient city and you've just angered the warden. You try and run away, but you're stuck. You've just walked over the skulk jaw block, which Mojang cut from the game. It would likely have used its teeth to trap you until you mine it away. Developer King B-Dog said he wasn't happy with the design, so it never got into the wild update and we'll never see it again. Something a little less harmful is the group of 6 new rabbit types that Mojang added to Minecraft Earth but won't add to the main game. Most of them are just new skins, but the most interesting one is the jumbo rabbit. It's nearly 2 blocks tall, making it absolutely massive compared to the normal rabbits. Big Chungus would be proud. Mojang also made concept art for a hyper rabbit. It would have looked a lot more crazy than a regular rabbit and probably would have acted that way too. There was also art for a magma cow with burning horns and glowing eyes. Probably need something better than a wooden fence to contain that thing. Minecraft Earth's rainbow sheep was a real thing, and it's quite similar to the Jeb Easter egg in the main game. This sheep is even cooler as it actually drops rainbow wool when you shear it. You can craft this into rainbow carpet and even better, a rainbow bed. There are 7 more types of sheep that you've never seen too. You can't dye most of these new versions, but you can shear them. The most special is the horned sheep, which look amazing, but you probably don't want to keep one as a pet since they paw at the ground and then charge at you, doing a few hearts of damage. If you manage to defeat it, you'll get a horn item that does literally nothing. Another way to make Minecraft more colourful would be with amethyst. It has such a unique colour, it's a shame the only tool you can make with it looks like this. But as lovely as it would look, a new tier of tools and armour needs an exciting place in the progression, so amethyst will not be given this new use. You can make armour with leather, iron, gold, diamond and netherite, but why not emerald or copper? Copper armour would look pretty cool turning from a shiny brown colour to a light turquoise one that you could trick people into thinking is actually diamond. But you guessed it, Mojang don't want to do that. The idea of chains making chainmail armour has also been considered and rejected for some reason. A few crafting recipes for items have been removed over the years. The enchanted golden apple used to be obtainable using 8 gold blocks, and chainmail armour can be crafted using fire. If you somehow managed to get fire in an item form using inventory editors, you could turn it into chainmail armour. This meant chainmail armour was unobtainable for years until villager trading was added. Horse armour also used to have a crafting recipe. When you go to craft, you've definitely seen the little green knowledge book that you have in your inventory. They were originally going to be found in chests. Picking one up and using it would teach you some more crafting recipes. This feature was partially left in the game's code, so you can spawn in books that do this. The ones that spawn naturally were removed. They have the same magenta name colour in the inventory like most other unobtainable items. Teaming up in survival games has always been great for an advantage, but when adding the battle minigame to console versions, the developers removed an item that would have let us team up. They were planning to add alliances and would have used this letter, but the feature went unused. The console versions also have this unused iron and diamond elytra, which was probably for the glide minigame. Another set of items that were removed were these separated banner parts. They were left in the files of Java Edition in 2014. There was a wooden base and an overlay. Maybe banners were just going to look like items in the inventory, or they were going to be crafted with 2 separate items. In 2015, Jeb was asked if he could add nachos to the game. He unfortunately said that Mojang won't be adding nachos. He did say that corn could be a fun food source, so we might get that in the future. I won't make a corny joke here though. Turnips were also mentioned once before an update came out, but they were never added. If you're greedy like me, you'll know the feeling of cake running out. What if you could just keep on eating it forever? That's what used to be possible, allowing you to create an inverted cake block. You could see inside the cake and the appearance changed every version. For Minecraft's 10th birthday, a big white concrete number 10 was added to the top of cakes for a few days before being removed again. Cake is lovely, but wouldn't it be nice to have another kind of food that you can place down and take bites from? This would be great for pumpkin pie, and people have been asking for this since it was first added 11 years ago. Unfortunately, this will never happen because Jeb was like, nah, cake is special. They won't be adding any prepared food items like pizza either. They even said that poisonous potatoes will never have any actual actual use, even though it would be interesting to see what they would do to a potion. Did you know there are 40 potions in Minecraft? Well, there were 30 more that got removed, like the burpee potion, stinky potion, and bungling potion. Those are all real names of potions with no effect. I'll take one debonair potion, please. There used to be even more, which were obtained by using redstone to revert an extended potion, which for some reason created a separate type of potion with the same effect. Having loads of potions can really clutter up your inventory. You should be able to mix them into one bottle to take up a fraction of the space. Anvils combine enchantments, so cauldrons could combine effects. Mixed potions were suggested, prototyped, and then rejected. Their reason makes a lot of sense. Mixing two medicines in real life does not combine their effects. Cauldrons were originally added for brewing potions, which makes a lot more sense than a brewing stand. We all know that brewing stands are for making potions and nothing else. That's wrong in the Education Edition. Mojang actually lets you make medicine in this version, but not in the main game. A poison antidote is made with silver, a weakness curing elixir is made with cobalt, eye drops that cure blindness are made with calcium, and a tonic that cures nausea is made with bismuth. In real life, bismuth subsalicylate is used to treat nausea, but you didn't expect to learn that. A potion concept that won't be added is the potion of silence. This would make your footsteps no longer audible, meaning that they don't affect skulk sensors and the warden mob won't be able to hear them. There are also certain potions that you can't craft, like the uncraftable potion for example. Levitation potions don't even exist. Jeb says that this is because every potion must have a tipped arrow version, and that would be pretty nasty. You've seen the secret potions you can't get in Minecraft Java Edition, but there are 9 unique types of potion in Minecraft dungeons that you probably don't know about. There's the Shadow Brew, giving invisibility and strength. You can get the Sweet Brew, which gives a defense boost and 2 minutes of freezing resistance. And you can even get a Dense Brew for melee resistance. Some of the other potions are like ones from the main game, but with a different bottle design. The new bottle shapes would be great in normal Minecraft, so that you could easily see which potion is which. There are 206 items that aren't obtainable in the main game, but are in Minecraft dungeons. Some of them can only be carried by hostile mobs, like the ladle, which is a spoon held by Vindicator chefs. There are 55 unique armor sets, including the unobtainable Curious armor, which was going to have a 5% chance to teleport you when hit. You can get it in the arcade version, where it's called Ender armor. Minecraft has apples, berries, and melons, but another fruit that was going to be added was the banana. However, you couldn't eat them because this was a banana pickaxe. This is not a joke. It was going to be called the Monkey Motivator, and the art director said it looked exactly like a banana on a stick. Mojang really were going to add a banana pickaxe to jungle areas in Minecraft dungeons. Not sure you're going to be mining many diamonds with that though. This one was removed because Mojang decided it wasn't fun. You were originally going to be able to buy diamond dust in Minecraft dungeons. This was worth 1,000 emeralds when bought from the Mason, an unused mob. The magic dust would upgrade a weapon's power by 1 level. I think it sounds quite fun, but that price is more steep than this mountain. And with Minecraft 1.18's giant snowy mountains, you might think it would be fun to have some skis. Skis were added to Minecraft back in 2012, but you couldn't actually use them. Dinnerbone added the texture to the game files to distract players from what was really coming in the next update. The skis were eventually removed, and Mojang had successfully tricked us all. Ice and snow can get in the way, especially with 1.17's snowier snow. So when you need to clear some away, the heat block would have been great for warming up the area, if Mojang hadn't removed it, that is. This feature was made exclusive to the Education Edition, but there's an actual reason for it. Like real life hand warmers, the iron inside oxidizes and releases heat. There's some real life chemistry in a Minecraft video. You're in a desert mining sand and then the weather starts to change. You set on fire in the intense heat and need to quickly find water to cool off. Biome dependent weather effects like that one that damage the player are not coming to Minecraft. A developer said that they don't create things that damage your hard work without making it preventable, which is why they've now added the copper lightning rod, so that lightning doesn't cause this to happen. That was definitely lightning, not me. Speaking of weather, an odd limitation from Minecraft Alpha was winter mode. Before biomes were added, there was a random chance your world would permanently be a winter mode world made of only a snow biome. It was luckily removed a few months later when biomes were added. Another odd limitation is that there's no voice chat built into a game where communication is king. And you're gonna need to keep using Discord because Mojang won't be adding voice chat. Being built into the game, you could have proximity chat or team chats. There are mods, but it would be safer if it were built in. And Mojang love their chat safety. But hey, at least you don't have to put up with that guy.
Hey guys, I got a new mic today.
The chat you used to be able to have in the game was your Twitch chat. Mojang added official Twitch integration into the game that let you live stream directly from Java Edition, but they removed it probably because it's much easier just to use other software. You were even able to see the chat as if it were Minecraft chat. They could help tell you what things are when you get confused, like how this spawner right here is actually a chest. When a mob spawner generates in the same block space as a chest, the two combine and look like a pig spawner. It doesn't actually spawn any pigs, and the only way to access the items inside is with a hopper. There was also a version where signs and spawners had the same ID, causing this to happen. Back in in-dev versions, there was a house with chests containing stacks of 100 water and lava blocks. These were dangerously glitchy. Mojang even called the lava ones volcano blocks because of how deadly they were. Place one of these bad boys in your world, and if you can't stop it, say goodbye to your precious Minecraft house. The water blocks would spread even faster, but both types could be soaked up with a bit of sponge. This was around the time when player stats would show up in the inventory. There was attack, defense, and speed. They were removed pretty quickly, and years later the game's creator said he couldn't even remember why he added them. They were just text and didn't actually do anything. What happens when the volcano blocks and water blocks from earlier collide? They make gears. Yeah, gears were in the game before redstone. You could only break them with an explosion, so they were pretty tough to remove. Breaking the block behind it would just make the gear invisible. Eventually, Mojang removed them, and every world with gears suddenly had them replaced with redstone. Redstone doesn't go up walls. I mean, it is redstone dust after all. It's not a wire like we're used to in real life. So it's obvious why Mojang won't be adding the ability for redstone to go up walls. And they won't be adding this type of redstone paste either. Wait, if redstone's a dust, how does this work then? There are quite a few types of villager in Minecraft, but there isn't one that sells redstone components. And guess what? There never will be. This type of villager would be very useful, as you wouldn't have to go mining when you run out of redstone, or have to smelt down a bunch of cobblestone when you need another repeater. Colored lamps were also rejected, but would have looked really quite nice. Does this ever happen to you? You've just finished building a pretty complex redstone system from a tutorial you found online, only to realize after all that hard work, this farm was for the other version of Minecraft. Mojang said they'll never fix this glaring difference because it would break a lot of contraptions people have already built. We've already got the target block for your redstone circuits, but Mojang will never add a timer block to Minecraft. They'll also never add a timer item, command, or even an enchantment that uses a timer. They haven't said why, and they're about to run out of time. Before command blocks were even a thing, teleport blocks were in an official version of the game. These blocks would instantly transport you to different ones using a menu. Home blocks would take you to your house, and spawn blocks would let you change the spawn point. Mojang removed these when making the new Education Edition, but they would have made transportation so much quicker. Minecarts with chests are great for storage systems, and TNT minecarts can be pretty fun. There are a few minecart types that were removed, however. Dinnerbone tweeted this screenshot in 2013 showing dispenser minecarts. You can't get those, but you can get spawner minecarts using the /summon command. Redstone minecarts are unique to Minecraft dungeons, but there are no normal ones. The next mob is another cube-shaped one called the Redstone Cube, which leaves a small trail of redstone dust as it relentlessly chases the player. Unlike most of these mobs, I really wouldn't like them to add this one. This next one is also something that Mojang shouldn't add. The Wraith is a pretty scary ghost skeleton thing that floats around and attacks by placing blue flames around you. Like Endermen, they follow you and can teleport away when they're in danger, making them even more scary. A slightly less scary ghost is this Wisp mob. No, not the YouTuber, this mob. They make noises like ghasts, but there are also baby ghasts in the game that make high-pitched ghast sounds. You can even keep them as a pet to fight with you. Quite cute if you ask me. Ah! Speaking of pets, remember Dan TDM's skeleton wolf Grim? Well, Mojang actually turned it into a real thing in Minecraft Earth. You could hear its bones rattling when this undead dog walked around or shook its fur. They may look cute, but you can't tame them, and they'll attack alongside normal skeletons, while howling to give other skeleton mobs a damage boost effect. Is that a skeleton spider? Yeah, that's right. Bone spiders were a thing too, and launched bone shard projectiles at you. They had double the health and could attack normally as well, making them much stronger. Their sounds were horrible compared to normal spiders, so it's no wonder that Mojang didn't want to keep these in the main game. We've got spider jockeys. We've got chicken jockeys. Dolphin jockeys don't sound too far-fetched. But it says in bold right here, no taming and riding dolphins. It's a shame, but it would be unrealistic, because as we all know, baby zombies ride chickens in real life. Speaking of babies, baby dolphins will never be added to Minecraft either. They made a figure of this jockey, but it never ended up actually getting added as something that spawns naturally in any Minecraft game. It's quite a funny looking mob, but it wasn't even added to Minecraft Earth, so only the figure still remains. That's not even the only mob that got this kind of treatment. You couldn't even get this mob in any game, but it had a Lego figure made for it. This is the dyed cat, and its name is Peanut Butter. One of the developers said that it's actually purple goo on the back of that cat, so I guess that makes it peanut butter and jelly. I don't recommend eating it, but you can eat these 8 secret types of chicken from Minecraft Earth. This one's called the Cluck Shroom, and they leave a trail of red mushrooms when they walk in the dark, running around wildly if they're in the daylight. Another interesting one is the Fancy Chicken. This guy struts around with a giant tail feather that it can drop, called the Fancy Feather. Pigs chicken out when they see fancy chickens, which is a bit rude. An April Fool's update had diamond chickens that, instead of making eggs pooped out diamonds every now and then. This same update had red silverfish called redstone bugs, which spawned around redstone clocks. It was also the first ever version with horses, which looked like this. The funny thing is, that's not even the most cursed thing in this video. 2 April Fool's updates had happy withers. You had to feed them sugar for them to grow more heads. They fired skulls that acted like bone meal on grass. These April Fool's ones were clearly joke mobs, but surprisingly, this next item wasn't. Bone meal can run out quickly when you're using a lot of white dye. Why not make bleach instead? In Minecraft Education Edition, by combining water and sodium hypochlorite, you'll get this, which can be used to instantly turn any wool item white. Only problem is that you can't even spawn it in with commands. Bleach even works for removing patterns from banners instead of having to use a cauldron. You can dye water in a cauldron in Bedrock Edition, but picking that up with a bucket doesn't give you coloured liquid. Apparently it's too complicated for Mojang to add to the game. They'd have to code a whole new system for transferring those properties, and it wouldn't be able to show the colour in your inventory. There won't be a real reason to drink regular water either, because thirst was discussed and then canned. The update that added the hunger bar is still known as one of Minecraft's most controversial updates ever, so adding another bar to manage would drive more players away. Mojang indicated that they prefer to focus on making hunger better, rather than adding a whole new mechanic to add clutter to Minecraft. A biome that Mojang rejected is the redwood forest. Apparently these are too similar to the mega taiga biome, so there's no chance of us getting redwood logs or planks. Also, roofed forests could have had tree houses for the unused illusioner mob, which is coded into the game but never spawns in and doesn't have a spawn egg. The mob might get added, but they don't like the treehouse idea. Adding a chest to witch huts will never happen either, because they're currently fine. Doing this looks pretty cursed, but the portal block used to allow something very similar. These worked just like normal nether portals, but acted like fence posts, allowing for some nice looking designs. When portals were first added, you could place them like a full block too. It's good that Mojang removed them before someone tried to like one of these. When a fan pitched their idea for coloured portals to Jeb, he bluntly explained, "We are not planning to add that." And then 2 months later, for April Fools, he added funky portals, which let you change the colour of the portal to whatever you like, leading you to infinite dimensions. Colour-coded portals would be to die for, but they were just an April Fool's prank. And Mojang will never let you make portals with crying obsidian either. Speaking of obsidian, there used to be obsidian walls at spawn. These would mark where the 0 coordinate is on each axis. They were only in the game for a couple of versions and then removed permanently, so they were likely just for testing. Brick pyramids were added around this time too, but they always spawned at the exact same coordinates in every single world. There was nothing inside because they were completely solid. Imagine finding that on your adventure. Never run out of bricks again. Minecraft has desert pyramids now, but you know what pyramids are supposed to have that Minecraft doesn't? Mummies. These bandaged up zombies are too similar to husks according to Mojang. That's the reason there aren't mummies in pyramids, but surely there should be husks in there instead then. Actually, the TNT has done enough damage too many times. Something extremely rare you used to be able to find while adventuring was a weird spruce tree in the shape of an oak one. Fans dubbed this the Colden Oak tree, and it could only be found in old versions of Pocket Edition. You'd be very lucky to find one though, as they only showed up when a tree generated on the border of a snowy biome and a forest. It's something worth keeping an eye out for if you're ever playing an old version. You're bound to come across loads of flower types as you adventure. Mojang actually removed a few over the years. This is the Pioneer, which was first shown here by Jeb. It was the main flower at his wedding, but got replaced in Minecraft by the peony. The texture stayed in the game files and got updated in 1.14, even though it hadn't been obtainable since 1.7. Roses used to be cyan in Pocket Edition, and the red rose was replaced because rose bushes are more realistic. A little bit less romantic though. Ah, the old days of Pocket Edition. This version from 9 years ago had a bunch of blocks that we don't have today. The nether reactor core, crafted like this, would generate a nether spire with mobs and items inside. Glowing obsidian would also show up. The stone cutter looked like this and was added so that the crafting menu wasn't too full. Then Mojang decided to remove it for 4 years. Another mechanic that makes your inventory a mess is copper with all 37 variants. That's why Mojang won't be adding a way to oxidize other blocks like iron, which could become rusty over time just like real life. They also won't add a way to speed up oxidization because it would make oxidized copper less valuable. It's valuable? You'd think Minecraft has enough variants of blocks with slight changes. There are 23 types of stone brick, for example. Mojang still added more to Minecraft Dungeons, but won't be adding these to the main game. Some blocks are unused in that game for obvious reasons. There are loads of unique blocks, so look out for them next time you play Dungeons. When Mojang are making blocks, they sometimes need special textures to make it easier to test things. They left 2 of these in the files, creatively named D debug and debug 2, using a piston to push a bubble column in some snapshots to cause debug 1 to appear. What the symbols mean on debug 2 is unknown, but it does look a little like this early sandstone texture. This removed block looks pretty weird, but it was actually Mojang's first ever April Fool's prank. It used to look like this in 2011 and was called the locked chest. Opening it brought you to a page showing stuff like a name change, miner's helmet, and even a creeper saddle. You couldn't actually buy these things, luckily. Even though it's impossible to lock doors and chests without commands, Minecraft is no stranger to having keys. The 3D shareware April Fool's update had 3 types of key. The red one was dropped by the Wither, the blue key was dropped by an Elder Guardian, and Ravagers dropped yellow keys. These supposedly open doors of the same color, but there aren't any to try them on. Minecraft Dungeons also has these gold and diamond key golems. The same April Fool's update had a 3D item. For some reason, you could eat it for a photo of the developers to appear. Speaking of chests, ever think there isn't enough space in your ender chest? Wouldn't it be nice if you could just do this? Or maybe stack them to create even more space? These would allow you to keep so many emergency supplies, but they say they won't add any of these ideas or anything similar. When ender chests were first added, there was only one inventory for an entire server. This meant that anyone could see what's inside, so at least we all have our own personal ender chests. You've probably thought that crafting tables or anvils should let you combine an elytra with your favorite chest plate, strength, and the ability to fly around to your heart's content. The reason this idea was cut is that part of using an item as OP as an elytra is that you have to give up part of your armor. Maybe a good trade instead would be spending a huge number of levels, but Mojang still don't want you to be able to do this. After stripping wood with an axe, where does the bark go? It would make so much more sense if it dropped as an item that could be crafted into wooden armor to go with your wooden tools. Or it could be an alternate way to get paper. It is odd that you can't make paper from trees. Unfortunately, bark was suggested and rejected. No chance of getting an easier way to make charcoal either then. When you put coal in a furnace, that fuel stays in there until it's used up. However, put lapis in an enchanting table and that fuel goes back to your inventory when you're done. Mojang say it should stay like that, as apparently it doesn't make sense that the lapis slot is shared while the weapon slot isn't. I think it doesn't make sense that fuel can't be stored in there. This one's more than just a block. It's inside a block. Beacons were going to have this little rotating cube inside, which looked like an end crystal. This had to be removed by Mojang to stop lag, since loads of enchantment tables can destroy the game. So imagine what would happen with loads of these. A blue cube inside is a bit more boring though. And staying with the enchanting stuff, Mojang won't be removing the too expensive limit on anvils. This is because the anvil raises its prices to force you to eventually use a new weapon, not to force you to use a mob grinder. Even if they did allow more enchantments, it wouldn't make me any better at PvP. You'll need PvP skills for these deadly zombies from Minecraft Earth. This one's called the bouldering zombie and can climb up walls like a spider. The other is the lobber zombie, which, as the name suggests, throws rotten flesh projectiles at players. Both of these weird new zombies have differently shaped arms and new animations that the normal zombies don't have, which makes them very unique, but I'm still gonna kill them. All hostile mobs in Minecraft need to be fantasy creatures, which means that Mojang don't want to add any realistic sharks, even though these are suggested very often. They've also said that they will never add alligators or crocodiles, even though there was an alligator in the secret Chinese mob vote. You probably remember the ones from Minecon and Minecraft Live, but there was another secret mob vote that was exclusive to Chinese players to promote the release of Minecraft China. The panda won the vote with 500,000 votes, but there were 4 other mobs, which were the Chinese alligator, golden monkey, white-lipped deer, and the white dolphin. We could have had another species of dolphin roaming the ocean or monkeys with fruits. While Mojang love adding new mobs, there's a couple that we will never get. Those are the ones from Minecon Earth 2017, specifically the barnacle, which was planned for the update Aquatic, and the Great Hunger. Can't we swap phantoms for one of them? Mobs from other votes are still up for grabs. Remember this mob from the first ever vote? It was actually called the Wildfire and was added into the code of Minecraft Dungeons, but you can't find it in-game. When glitched in, it has 4 large shields and a pillar underneath its head. The Wildfire uses the texture of a normal blaze with a helmet that has a red gem in the middle. The biome votes that Mojang did over the years have shown mobs that are going to be added in the future. They confirmed ostriches and termites in savannas, crabs in swamps, and vultures in the Badlands biome. The Wildfire isn't the only mob exclusive to Minecraft Dungeons that Mojang hasn't given us in the main game. Here are some more. The Iceologer was also in the 2020 mob vote and can summon giant ice chunks to throw at and stun you. Some of the files for this mob call it the Chillager, which is a much better name than this. And of course, the penguin was in the vote for 2023. We could still get these, but you might not know that the penguin has been in Minecraft before. There were emperor penguins and royal penguins available as pets in Minecraft Dungeons. Hopefully they get added to the colder biomes someday. Speaking of biomes, what if Minecraft had a volcano biome? Giant mountains with lava spilling out from the peaks, and from time to time the volcanoes could erupt. While that could be a fun challenge, it would be infuriating if you've just finished building your new mansion and an eruption burns it all away, so you can see why Mojang won't be adding them. For the same reason, there won't be tornadoes that pick up the mobs and blocks in their paths. They can't add unpreventable events that destroy your work. My diamond blocks! And to prevent those disasters, spell casting could be used. It seems like a natural progression from enchantments, but developer Jeb stated that he's been avoiding adding magic spells for parity reasons. He said he might add wizards to go with witches, as they fit the rule that all hostile mobs must be fantasy creatures, but he won't give players the ability to conjure things up. Fireball shooting won't be added to survival either, because the ghast can already do that. When ghasts were first added in Alpha 1.2.0, while shooting a fireball, they would visibly expand. The effect didn't work in multiplayer, so when LAN mode was added in 1.3, this broke the feature for single player too. The code was then entirely removed in 2014. It's such a tiny detail that most veteran players probably never even noticed. I certainly didn't, but I'd love for it to come back one day. And staying with the nether, walking on soul sand with soul speed makes soul particles appear, but none come from soul fire. The art director said they were rejected as they'd limit soul fire to being used only in spooky themed builds, so they made it just blue fire instead. What happens to limitations being by design? Though there's evidence they considered soul lava. Soul fire was added in the nether update, but another soul block was completely scrapped from the game. Unused particles existed that looked just like lava particles, but blue. This means soul lava might have been found in soul sand valleys in an unreleased version. It could have been able to flow faster or dealt more damage like soul fire does. Mojang removed it before we ever got to find out, so we just have to speculate. This block looks like grey concrete, but it's not. It's called Reserved 6, or dot name as it was known at the time. When fire spread in Pocket Edition, sometimes it would create this block. Pocket Edition also had these two secret blocks. One says update, which would show up when a block was removed by an update but still placed in the world. The other says 8 upped, so that together they say update. Paintings have been in the game for 11 years, but these paintings never made it into the final game. These 4 paintings were found in the files of a Bedrock update, and another update made them look like this. There's earth, fire, water, and wind, but you can't get any of them anymore. You also can't get the Wither painting in the 3DS version, probably because there's no Wither to build. In the old days of Minecraft, there were a few chances to see these 2 blocks that got removed. This one is a placeholder block that used to show up when a block tried to use a non-existent texture. It was changed to this one in 1.5, and then to this purple and black cube in 1.6. Mojang have changed which blocks correspond to which note block instrument more than a few times. For example, note blocks on bones used to make a bass drum sound before the xylophone instrument was added. Any note blocks from this time period still play the bass drum and can be tuned without changing. There are a few others that do this, making for some confusing tunes. Before emeralds, we had rubies. Rubies in Minecraft have taken many forms. These 2 versions of rubies were used in 2012, but got changed to emeralds at the last minute. Rubies reappeared 7 years later in Minecraft Earth as currency with very weird pricing. 40 rubies are a stack, but it takes 100 to make a block. 2,000 rubies will set you back $80, but luckily you can't buy them anymore. We've all seen the Iron Golem and Snow Golem before, but this is Minecraft Earth's Furnace Golem. When this absolute beast sees any hostile mob, its eyes burn and launch fire at the mob. It's based on the blast furnace, but you can't actually build this guy with one. Don't drop the Furnace Golem in water as they take damage, even though furnaces normally work underwater. It's also very dangerous to keep these guys around your builds as they tend to set things on fire. The Iron Golem and Furnace Golem are alright, but what if they had a baby? This is the agent. It has no AI because this is from the Education Edition, where you're supposed to program it yourself. The agent even has its own spawn egg with a red dot in the middle. It has its own inventory and can push pressure plates when instructed to move towards them. Since this is a secret mob, you could call it a secret agent. Another dangerous mob that Mojang added to Minecraft Earth was the Viola Witch. It was bigger than the normal witch with a lot more health and the ability to drink invisibility potions before attacking. Something else that's invisible is the Zone from the 20W14 Infinite snapshot. The block is invisible and emits happy villager particles. Any mob or player that enters the Zone will get blindness 2 and poison 4 for 3 seconds. You can't use pistons to move zones or place blocks in there, but they do affect the gravity of items thrown inside. The same update also had a cursor block that switched color every second, and boxes of books full of random text. What were Mojang thinking to come up with this stuff? When making a world in Bedrock Edition, there used to be an old world type, which was previously the only option 9 years ago. This world used to have a unique type of block called Invisible Bedrock. It's totally unbreakable, just like the visible version, and would spawn around the edge of every world. When in your hand, it looked like a flat stone block. Invisible bedrock got removed by Mojang, because now we have border blocks, which are a red variant of walls found in the Education Edition, but not in the main game. You can't walk under them or fly over them, unless you're a teacher. These would also be great for servers, but Mojang won't let us have them for some reason. All mobs are stopped apart from the Ender Dragon, which just flies straight on through. Oh, and Ender Pearls let you escape lessons as well. Stay in school. Sometimes it's difficult to see where a village starts and ends, but with village border blocks, that's no longer a problem. They were seen in a demo at a convention, and the textures remained in the files for years. However, there's no footage in existence of them in action, so it's difficult to know if these were placed like redstone to trap villagers, or if they just generated naturally. The blocks would be nice on servers to confine players into a small space before a challenge starts. Please help me. You know what I don't want to see in a village anytime soon? This horrific creature. When Mojang were developing the villager skin, they made this abomination and left it in the game files from version 1.0 to version 1.1. The weirdest part is that this texture wasn't stored with the regular villager texture files. It was completely separate. Maybe they were actually planning to add Steve villagers as mobs. Man, I'm glad that never happened. Ever wanted more types of villagers? No? Great. Education Edition also has 25 different new NPC villagers. There's a robot one in a hazmat suit, 5 bee ones, some doctors, and so many more. They have this cool rainbow spawn egg as well. They're invincible and just kind of stand there and tell you a message when you click them. Villagers have iron golems roaming around, but what do the illagers have? I guess they do have the Ravager, but wouldn't it be better for them to have an illager golem? Mojang thought of this too and added it to the game. I'm joking. Of course they didn't. The idea was rejected. Mojang won't ever add the ability to trade with nitwits. Many people suggested the idea, but Mojang say no because the lack of jobs was originally a bug that became a feature after players wanted to have villagers with no trades. Just looking out for these guys. Times are tough for the village economy. You know how the blacksmith's workstation isn't an anvil? It would make more sense to have one here instead of stone slabs or a grindstone, right? Dinnerbone confirmed this will never be one because of how easy it would make obtaining the anvil. They want it to be something hard to obtain for later in the game, so giving it to you as soon as you walk into a village would be as crazy as giving you free diamonds in villages. Oh wait, maybe there could be a villager that sells cannons and cannonballs. This could be an item version of a TNT cannon, maybe without the fuse time, letting you launch it instantly. Mojang's statement is that cannons are guns, and if it can be classified as a gun, it's also classified as a solid no. When Minecraft was first being planned, Mojang were going to add spikes that extended and retracted. They would have basically been spiked pistons, but these were replaced with sticky pistons. A developer said in 2012 that they'd like to add spikes, but weren't sure how they'd work. 1.17 finally added dripstone, but you can't even push the spikes. Come on, Mojang. A piston can't push more than 12 blocks. This makes it pretty hard to construct nice looking flying machines. Surely over 10 years later they have the ability to increase the limit. They changed the build height limit, freshening up the gameplay quite a bit, so piston limits increasing would be a logical next step. However, the current limitations are by design, so pistons are gonna stay the same. What if pistons could do this? Before Mojang removed 6-sided pistons, you could get them without even needing commands by using redstone clocks. They never really worked though. Mojang removed some other 6-sided variants of blocks, including hay bales, bone blocks, and pillars, all with textures that don't quite make sense. Is this block a dispenser, furnace, or dropper? Trick question. It's none of them, and it's about as useless as it sounds. Certain data values used to create furnaces with no direction, meaning no front either. Something more useful is the faceless jack-o'-lantern. You can tell it's not just a normal pumpkin because it glows. These were obtained in the same way, but were removed by Mojang. The jack-o'-lantern was going to be an actual mob in Minecraft Dungeons. Its eyes would have lit up and then launched pumpkin balls or seeds at you, but never made it into the final game. Snow golems have a new type in Minecraft Earth, introducing the melon golem, which is really strange. Just like snow golems, you can shear off their head. This is what the melon would look like if Mojang let you carve them, which is honestly even more terrifying than the normal carved pumpkin. The melon golem rapidly fires melon seed projectiles at its enemies, instead of snowballs like their pumpkin brothers. The new golems are just the beginning. Like the other mobs, there were more types of cow, 12 of them. The woolly cow was basically like a sheep that had a lot more health and only dropped brown wool when sheared. The moo bloom was in the 2020 mob vote, but came from this game and could be sheared for buttercups. There was even a very secret pink version that you could not obtain at all, with new pink flowers on its back. You've probably not heard of the rare moo lip, a light pink version of the moo bloom with pink daisies attached to its body. It feels like wool has been in the game forever. You might not know that there was a totally different block before wool was around. Cloth was the original version of wool, with colours like chartreuse, ultramarine, spring green, capri, rose, and way more. You used to use these blocks to craft cloth armor, which was renamed to leather armor when leather was added. For some reason, white cloth was one of the last ones added, and there was never any black cloth, just dark grey. You can get plenty of different types of horse armor, so it would make sense for Mojang to add more types of saddle other than leather ones. They actually did add a horse saddle, which could be crafted like this and stacked up to 32. But it was removed 2 weeks later in favor of using normal saddles on horses and pigs. Mojang have since said that they're not going to add any new types of saddle. Don't know why they've got to be such an ass about it. Ever thought a feature from a mod was a really good idea? We have Mo creatures to thank for horses, the piston mod for pistons, and even more. Mojang even wanted to add Optifine to vanilla Minecraft, but the mod creators said no. A few mods features may have been implemented into the main game in the past, but they say that they'll never do it again. I was hoping that they'd add my texture pack. It's beautiful. Bedrock Edition had a texture left in its files for a mob variant that never got used. There are normally 11 variants of cat, but here's a secret one. It's a tamed grey tabby cat, and it's impossible to spawn it in-game. It's unknown why it's unobtainable or why it's only in Bedrock Edition, but if you have a copy of the game, it's somewhere in the code. And speaking of cats, there are plenty of music discs in Minecraft, but one of them was removed. You can get the disc for cats from chests or creepers. But what about dog? C418 did make a song called Dog, and it used to play after Cat finished playing in a jukebox. It's raining cats and dogs. Also, the monster heard at the end of the 11 disc directly inspired the Warden. Speaking of the Warden, Mojang confirmed they will never add any way for the Warden to break blocks. Even though it digs out of the ground, it won't be able to destroy your defenses. Its sonic boom attack goes through walls anyway. Also, they'll never add a better drop for killing the Warden, so you don't go trying to kill it. The real loot is the friends we made along the way, and the stuff in the chests. Another idea that was almost added and then permanently removed is the stone chest. You'd find these in ancient cities where you've got to slowly slide the lid off without awakening the Warden. These would make for a cool new chest design, possibly with more space, but Mojang won't be adding anything like that. The same update also almost included glowing skulk with bright lime and turquoise colors. There was even concept art for a glowing Warden. It was likely a bit too bright for the deep dark. Another underground idea that Mojang banned from being in the game are ghost miners. These were actually considered for being added to the game but then rejected. The ghosts of previous miners would have been found in caves and led you to diamonds, gold, or even secret loot. Imagine you're alone underground and hear someone mining in a nearby cave, but you're on single player. To be honest, I'm surprised these were even considered in the first place. When you're in a cave and run out of torches, it would be nice to have some kind of light source to carry around, like a miner's hat for example. Well, Mojang confirmed that these are too modern for Minecraft, even though we've already got complicated electric systems and the ability to travel between dimensions. Okay, but what about just lighting up the area around you while holding a torch? They don't seem to like that idea either, even though it's technically already possible through mods. As hard as you may try, there will never be a way to break bedrock. Wait, you already can through a glitch? Well, they also scrapped the idea of having any biomes below bedrock, or the ability to get to the nether by digging through the bedrock ceiling. Instead, they just moved bedrock lower in the caves and cliffs update. I guess that works. You wouldn't expect vines to grow in caves. That's probably why Mojang removed this next block. These are root vines, which would have grown from the top of caves. This texture was left in a snapshot version, and the vines look pretty similar to glowberries, but without the berries, or the glow. When you're digging underground and it's taking a while, it would be great if there were an easier way, like with a mining robot. However, Mojang said these would work better as a mod and not a vanilla feature. So no cute robots, but what about just automatic quarries so you don't have to do as much digging? Mojang's designers confirmed they don't like things being fully automated, even though we can already make automatic sorting systems with hoppers and fully AFK mob farms. Making a working factory in vanilla is possible with farms, no magic required, but you always have to manually craft the output. Even though Mojang rejected it, they still added the auto crafting table to vanilla Minecraft. When Dinnerbone was shown this idea in 2014, he said, "I don't think that suits vanilla," probably for the same reason as the robot. But if that's the case, then why was it in the under review section on the official feedback site? Make your mind up, Mojang. Hopefully Mojang will add these next two removed blocks to the main game. They took automation a step further in the 2023 April Fool's update with the pickaxe block and the place block. The pickaxe block could mine blocks instantly with a redstone signal, even bedrock. The place block takes blocks from the container placed behind it, like a hopper, and places it in front. Definitely some awesome redstone contraptions you could make with those two blocks. They might need a bit more polish first though. This update also had carvable cheese blocks, copper sinks, golden chests, and copper spleeves. Some weird stuff in there, but not as weird as this next April Fool's joke. 1.17's tinted glass blocks were originally an April Fool's joke, where you could change the color of glass but couldn't see through it anymore. This was added and removed even before stained glass existed. Also, hardened glass was added to the Education Edition. This is as blast resistant as endstone and takes 15 seconds to mine with your hand. So many new types. This item is very fine. That's its actual name. The very fine item was a secret item in an April Fool's version, found in the isolation dimension in an item item frame next to this bed. It uses the texture of the side of a grass block. There's no way to craft it, and you can't find it in the creative inventory. It doesn't have much of a use either, so the reason it looks quite like this is a bit of a mystery. When you walk around in real life, you leave footprints behind. So Mojang were going to make footprints into a feature in Minecraft. You might be thinking that's not an item, but the same update that added the very fine item also had a footprint item found in a chest in the missing dimension. This is a joke referencing the unused particle that uses the same texture and how it's missing from the final game. I'd love to see footprints make a return, but they might leak the locations of a few secret bases. Ants used to be in Minecraft. You're thinking that's a mob, but it was actually a block. It will turn right on white concrete and left on black concrete, changing the color as it goes. The pattern seems random at first, but it will always eventually create a highway. The same April Fool's update also had netherite stairs called swaggiest stairs ever, if you're looking for something a bit more silly. Okay, this one's not really a feature, but it was too funny to leave out. The first ever publicly released version of Minecraft Pocket Edition had these 5 icons left in the files. These 3 are clearly icons for multiplayer, single player, and settings, but then there's just this trash can with giant eyes. Maybe it was for deleting worlds? Either way, I'm terrified. You finished a massive build and want to share it with the world. There's not really an easy way to get a picture standing in front of it, is there? Well, with the camera, this used to be possible. Pocket Edition used to have a camera which looked like an egg in the inventory. You could stand it up and start a timer to take a photo. It was removed in 2016, but re-added as an Education Edition exclusive a few years later. Now, when you take a photo, it goes into a portfolio book, which allows you to export them. Wouldn't it be funny if you could attach balloons to mobs and watch them float away into the air? You can actually do this in the Education Edition. Iron golems and pandas are extra heavy and float up a little more slowly, while foxes and chickens float up pretty fast. You can attach them to fences too, or just hold one in your hand. They're crafted with latex, helium, and a lead. Not to be confused with lead. I'm not Mark Rober, but I know that elephant's toothpaste is a fun science experiment. Mojang even removed it from the Education Edition of Minecraft. They accidentally left a particle texture in the game files labeled elephant toothpaste. It might have looked like this in game, but the item was scrapped before Mojang could even finish making it. Remember the trash can from earlier? Well, there's actually an item called garbage that Mojang only lets you get in the Education Edition. While making one of the many chemical compounds like this, if you make a wrong move and use an invalid recipe, you'll be given a flaming pile of gunpowder. Imagine that happened while crafting something normally. None of these compounds are in the creative menu, so you have to make each one manually every time you need them. You can't get this next item in the creative menu or with commands, even with education features turned on. You can craft glow sticks of all different colors. Using them will shake them, causing them to light up. Similarly, you can make sparklers with magnesium, which hiss and get destroyed when you walk into water. In real life, magnesium burns in air and metals change the color of the flame, so this is actually quite a realistic item. Unfortunately, you can't get it normally. Before real fish mobs were added in the update Aquatic, there were only fish items. One of them got removed by Mojang in this update. It was just called fish and looked like this. This type of fish was first added all the way back in 2010 and could be cooked. The fish was replaced with cod, which makes more sense than having fish and salmon as separate things. Another developer more recently mentioned adding seals and orcas, but nothing has come of this just yet. Notch also mentioned adding hamsters in 2010, but he was only joking. When Notch announced that dragons were coming to Minecraft, he was talking about the Ender Dragon, but also mentioned the slightly less dangerous red dragons, which wouldn't destroy terrain when landing, allowing you to keep it as a pet. Jeb has said he thinks it will be added eventually, but who knows? Instead of flying a dragon, what about driving a car? Yeah, you can tell why Mojang won't add this. It's not unique enough and it's too modern. At least your tires won't get stuck in the mud. When you imagine mud, the first color you think of is probably brown. A lot of people pointed this out when Minecraft mud was revealed. Mojang will never change it because the art director said the grey color makes it clear where the floor is in the mangrove swamp. Is that the reason? They also tried adding mud baths, but they decided mud should just be solid and not a liquid too, even though Minecraft Earth had mud liquid years before. Earth also had 7 new pig variants, including the muddy pig, which you've probably seen before. But did you know that you could get buckets of mud to get them muddy again if they dry out? But what happens if mud and lava flow into each other? They make dirt instead of cobblestone. That's weird, but the next one makes even less sense. You won't believe this, but Mojang removed acacia stairs for one update. When 1.7 released, acacia stairs were in the game, but you couldn't craft them because Mojang forgot to add in acacia planks. This also meant that acacia and dark oak slabs weren't obtainable either. Mojang actually had to remove the grass block at one point. Pocket Edition used to have this grass block that had the side texture on the bottom. It was called Block 253. Block 254 looked like this, which made the crafting table the same color as leaves. Now this may look like a dead bush, but it's not. In the old days, the dead bush had an alternate version called the shrub. These were more similar to ferns as they dropped wheat seeds and were a pixel lower than dead bushes. Another green version was created, and the color changed based on the biome. Mojang had to remove these glitchy blocks, which also made this a little less confusing. Although Minecraft says it's 90% bug-free, some broken blocks have slipped through the cracks at points. This invisible block here is actually a set of stairs. They weren't very good at being stairs though, because you could walk right through them. Eventually, Mojang removed these phantom stairs and replaced them with upside down stairs. This block looks like oak planks, but it's a bit broken because clicking it drops a button. After placing it again, it looks like this. A Minecraft developer once tweeted out this image, which shows 16 types of coloured planks. He asked, would this be of any use to anybody? Even though 80% said yes please, Mojang banned this feature from being in the game. You might think we've already got enough slabs in the game. A good few were removed, however. The first ever slab variant added was removed straight away. Dirt slabs were added so the terrain could be a little smoother, but it didn't work for cliffs, so the feature had to be removed. Coral slabs got shown at Minecon Earth, but Mojang removed those too. The Ethos slab was added in an April Fool's update. They work like TNT and spawned anvils above players. TNT slabs are cool, but even cooler is Super TNT. This was seen in Minecraft Story Mode and was used to craft the Formidi Bomb. Story Mode also had a few impossible banners, window blocks, and don't forget about the Wither Storm. He's been removed in nearly every update, apart from 1.17, but that doesn't mean he's being added. In fact, he's on the list of things that will never be in Minecraft. Except they don't mention him by name, so I guess we'll never know for sure. Herobrine's never been in the game and never will be. This next one permanently broke entire worlds. Placing one of these would crash the game and render your hard work worthless instantly. You might think it's a normal hopper, but looking from beneath will show that it points in no direction. Luckily, the only way to place this was with the set block command. Though Mojang probably should have tested it thoroughly before risking the worlds of anyone who just wanted to try the new hoppers. So you're walking through a forest minding your own business and then you come across this, a skeleton lying on the ground. Could it be the decaying remains of a previous adventurer, or will it spring into life and attack? This would add a lot to the mystery of a survival world, but was deemed as not a fit for Minecraft. When you get hit by a mob in Minecraft, you lose hearts, so it could be more realistic if you left some blood behind. Mojang won't add bodily fluids like that for obvious reasons. That also means they'll never add pee to the game. I'm glad they're not adding a bladder bar anytime soon, and there are already enough kinds of logs in the game. Something nicer is the Minecraft version of a Christmas reindeer, the Jolly Llama, which Mojang added to Minecraft Earth to celebrate with. This type of llama eats ferns and then jumps around with joy, jingling its bells. When you open a door, it's a little awkward how it opens instantly, right? Well, Mojang wanted to make it possible for doors to turn with a nice smooth animation. These turning doors would have had no windows and been made of oak because that was the only type of door at the time. Mojang removed all references to this version of the door in 1.6, when resource packs were added. Unlike the unique chest animation, opening a barrel only shows a dark circle. Two secret textures for barrels were added. One shows a square hole for the barrel, and the other shows the same square but filled with fish. These were removed but are now in Minecraft Dungeons, where barrels look even cooler. Minecraft Dungeons also has the Squalled Golem, which looks like this. They sit on the ground but charge towards you if the wind blows on them, causing a shockwave with their quick attacks. Another Dungeons illager is the Mountaineer. These have Mountaineer picks which they use for attacks. Even scarier are the two armored versions that you can come across. The Mage illager could cast spells, but was only added into Minecraft Dungeons Arcade, which is really odd. Pink slimes are in Dungeons and stay still and attack from a distance, using purple projectiles. They can't move or jump, but they are still deadly. They aren't the only slimes though. Tropical slimes hold tropical fish inside and are passive at first but can turn hostile when provoked. They can also swim in water and even climb up ladders. When killed, they split into smaller slimes like the normal ones do. This dripped out villager here goes completely unused in that game and never shows up at all. It's called the Quest Giver and probably would have given out quests, but we'll never know for sure as it was cut from the game. There are also more types of piglin in this game, like the Fungus Thrower, which picks up blue nether shrooms and throws them at you. Ender pearls are one of Minecraft's most unique types of item. I mean, they let you teleport in survival. However, there's another dimension that Mojang could give us pearls from. In 2018, a developer called the Raddest Bro mentioned adding nether pearls to the game, but the nether update came and we didn't get them. He didn't say exactly what they were going to do, but they might have been for finding a nether fortress. I guess we'll never know. After you reach the end, Eyes of Ender don't have much of a use other than making ender chests. Throwing the ender eye can fly directly towards the dragon and cause a large blast, like a bed. Mojang say that this doesn't make sense, probably because the ender dragon battle might be a little too easy. I don't think speedrunners would have much of a problem with it. Eyes of Ender could direct you to nearby end cities instead, which would be a genuinely cool feature, but it's too much for the game to process. Beds are some of the most useful blocks in the entire game. I mean, how else are you going to escape the phantoms? But when you're out in the wilderness, a sleeping bag might look better next to your campfire. These could allow you to sleep without forcing you to set your spawn point there, or they could not blow up in the end. However, beds Reds are a unique type of block and Mojang want to keep it that way. Loads of unique blocks were added in the Buzzy Bees update. Something that bees make other than honey that Mojang didn't add is beeswax. They added a texture for a wax block in a snapshot version, but it was removed because it wasn't even meant to be added. Mojang possibly tested it out, but couldn't think of a proper use for it. They should have added it in 1.17 as a crafting ingredient for candles. An early version of the Buzzy Bees update in 2019 had a secret item added to the game. This is crystallized honey. We don't know exactly what this was for, but some people think it would have been a food item. All of the uses got fulfilled by the honeycomb item instead. Any references to crystallized honey were removed less than 2 months later, so this item didn't even last as long as some real honeybees can. 6 armor sets seems like enough, but there was another armor set that got removed. Studded armor was in the game for a few months. It was planned to be a mix of chainmail and leather armor. Also, the original texture comes from the same game as the quiver. Mobs used to have plate armor, which didn't actually do anything apart from make them look slightly different. Boats are great, but what if you could make a stronger type that doesn't break when you crash into things and doesn't burn in lava? This guy doesn't really care that wooden boats burn in lava, so why should Mojang? Since Striders were added, they decided that lava boats are useless. The obsidian boat was added to an April Fool's update, but this was clearly a joke as it just sank when you tried to place it in water. Mojang have a very strong rule that nothing political will ever be added to the game. Oh no, they can't add L'Manberg. Wow, that L'Manberg reference is old, but not as old as this detail removed from Alex's skin. When they made the skin, there were some glasses in the outer 3D layer. These were made transparent, but the data is actually still in the skin file. Steve used to have 3D hair in Minecraft's InfDev phase too. Glad that one was changed. Also in Minecraft's InfDev phase, Mojang added a texture called Fluff. It looks like a cloud block, and that's sort of what it was. The texture was applied to clouds to add a bit more variation to them. It would be so cool to mine clouds and get this block. Though the developers clearly didn't like how it looked, so textured clouds and cloud blocks won't be coming back. The end dimension is packed full of endstone, but it used to look a lot more like this. The white cobblestone was added before endstone and was called whitestone. Mojang had to remove this and replace it with endstone, which is easier to see and just an inverted version of cobblestone. Shulkers were originally going to camouflage with their surroundings, but this feature was cut as it was too hard for even Mojang to code. You know what I like to look at more than anything else? Myself. Which is why it's a shame that Mojang rejected the idea of adding mirrors. These could have been made out of silver just like in real life, but the developers won't add that as there's already iron instead. Luckily, mirrors are in the RTX version of Minecraft, allowing you to create the illusion of an infinite room. Finally, you can make your diamond collection look a little bit more impressive. Coal, iron, and gold were the first ever ores added, though you were originally going to combine coal and iron to make steel. It would have been used for armor and weapons more powerful than iron. This sort of explains where flint and steel gets its name. It was actually added before flint, back when axes looked like this. Yeah, they really had two sides. Some people have had their unique capes removed by Mojang, like Mike Lee, who suggested the pigman. The cape was removed because too many people asked for their own unique capes. This developer used to have a prismarine cape, but it was removed from his account. You used to get this cape by playing a lot of Scrolls, Mojang's other game that's now been shut down. Even more recently, in April 2020, Dinnerbone said that a naked pigman bodyguard was going to be added, but that the feature got scrapped. Minecraft's biome votes from over the years have teased a bunch of new blocks that got cancelled because not enough people voted for them. Two types of trees that Mojang mentioned were baobab trees in savannas and palm trees in deserts. The Badlands biome would have been given cacti with really cool designs, and tumbleweed blocks which somehow would have rolled. You probably make a few mistakes while building, with some being a little bit too hard to fix. What if you could just undo your failed build and revert to the previous day? Minecraft's already got transporting between 3 alternate dimensions, so time travel is actually reasonable. Not to the game's creators though. An undo button will never be coming to Minecraft, and that includes time travel as well. Signs used to be mobs. Well, sort of. When signs were first added, they looked like this. Pressing B would drop a sign and it would bounce along the ground. This was an early test, as you can see from the message that was printed on every sign. Not much point having signs if you can't write on them. Signs used to have a 15-letter limit, so writing this would cause the letters to hang off the edge. When you place a bell on the ground, it's held by 2 stone poles. These used to be made of planks. Another update secretly added versions of bells with granite, polished granite, and diorite frames, meaning that Mojang may have intended for bells to be craftable using these items. There wasn't even an andesite one, which is really odd. You'd also have a few more design options if lanterns could be attached to walls. Torches go on walls, so why not lanterns? The art directors said this was a conscious design decision. They don't want to replace the iconic torch and want people to come up with creative solutions to this problem. So basically, use other blocks to make it look like that, because Mojang will never let you do it without. Sometimes you want to use wooden planks to build, but they're just not the right color. The ability to dye planks into the right shade or paint them like you would in real real life would be cool to have. No update will ever add dyeable or paintable wood because the current limitations are by design, which basically means just make concrete instead. The reason for rejecting this one is that it inhibits creativity. Is it A, removing wooden planks from the game, B, completely changing the way redstone works, or C, a new boss that destroys most of your world? It's actually none of those. The team seem to think that furniture stops people from being creative. It makes some sense. Having to make a chair with stairs and a few signs is a little bit more creative. It's an odd reason, and this is definitely not as comfortable. Minecraft used to have these two textures. They clearly look like a chair and a table, and this is what they could have looked like in 3D. Weirdly, wheat used to look like this if it somehow grew more than it should. Mojang later on banned all furniture from being added to Minecraft. Just like furniture, vertical slabs inhibit natural creativity. Don't tell Mojang about the glitch with walls. Combined slabs would be cool too, but they're also banned. And don't tell Mojang about this glitch at the world border either. Another idea Mojang rejected to sneakily force you to be creative is the crawling button. Crawling was an accidental feature added to fix a bug, where leaving water while swimming would get you stuck in a block. The swimming animation worked just fine, so there won't be a crawling animation. This one block rule had useful side effects, so they decided creative methods of crawling were more fun than pressing a button. It's well known that vertical slabs will also never be added, to make you find creative ways around it. But what about micro blocks? Imagine being able to carve out blocks. You could make your own pumpkin designs. You can make so much furniture. There will never be a way to get half of a slab or half of a half slab or any of that stuff. Minecraft's creator says just adding normal slabs was a big mistake. So no small blocks, but when you're building something big, you might want a second pair of hands. What if no one's around to help? The villagers aren't doing much. Builder villagers could sell building materials or even offer their building services in exchange for a probably unfair price. They could even construct defenses during raids to help the battle. The official law from Mojang is that they don't want to build things or do anything but live and let live. They're pretty chill, no builders. Speaking of raids, isn't it a bit weird that you can go to sleep and just continue the battle in the morning as if nothing happened? People have tried suggesting that sleeping should be disabled, but sleeping during raids is going to be left as is. It is odd that all mobs get frozen in time when you fall asleep. It would be cool if they got moved around when waking up. Villagers got an overhaul in 1.14, but they still kind of look the same and that won't be changing. According to Mojang's list, villagers are genderless. They are neither male nor female. It says right here on the Minecraft suggestions page, please do not suggest players having relationships or making babies with villagers. Yeah, not sure I really wanted to. Just like my crush, Mojang rejected this relationship idea. They also said that villagers won't ever build, follow you, or fight for you, since villagers are pacifists. This next one was actually shown in a trailer for a Minecraft update, but Mojang had to make a statement confirming that this was a mistake and will not be coming to Minecraft. Look, there it is. Bluestone. Yeah, Mojang tricked us all and made us think that Bluestone was coming to the Village and Pillage update. How do you accidentally animate a totally new item texture? We know now that it didn't come in the update, and they've said that they won't be adding an alternate redstone system and will instead continue adding to the readily available red redstone. Villages are all themed around their biome, but pillager outposts look identical no matter where they are. You could have desert pillagers, jungle pillagers, maybe even end pillagers. These were suggested, and the official response from Mojang was, pillagers don't care about biomes though. If that were true, they'd spawn in every biome. Okay, this one wasn't fully rejected, so we might get it one day, but it's just not very likely. Mushroom biomes and islands could have mushroom villages. Currently, they just have their plains biome outfit in mushroom biomes, and houses don't normally spawn there. The designs could be interesting, with village houses on mushrooms or even made out of mushrooms. You'll never find mushrooms that glow in Minecraft either. Mojang said they won't add this new variant because it's too overdone in games. Plus, a mushroom that glows isn't enough of a unique twist for them. What if there were a whole underground biome with big and small mushrooms you can use to make potions that give the glowing effect? But that way won't be added. Using a dispenser to defend your base from mobs is a little weak, so what about a proper turret? Place it down and it could angle itself at monsters and fire arrows right at them. Mojang banned them from being in the game, but they almost got added. The original idea for the Ravager had a ballista on top, which is a giant crossbow. Eventually this became a tiny item and they rejected the turret idea. When Minecraft was first being worked on in 2009, Mojang added in a few items from their older games. One of these was the quiver, which held arrows. You might have been able to hold more than 64 arrows inside, but it made much more sense just to hold the arrows like normal items. Mojang removed the quiver and tried to add it again in 2015, but decided not to. Minecraft Dungeons now has a quiver, so at least it managed to live on. In 2016, the Trendy update brought us loads of futuristic items for April Fool's Day. One of these was the USB charger block. It was crafted with iron, gold, and redstone, but what did it do? It was basically a futuristic clone of the redstone block, as it would output a constant redstone signal and do nothing else. The redstone doesn't even have to go into the top of the block. There's already Minecraft in VR, but there used to be VR in Minecraft. An April Fool's update added reality vision goggles that made signs look like this and added a huge hologram right in in front of your eyes. It's a shame they cancelled the HoloLens because we nearly had that in real life. The tech from the future doesn't stop there. We also had a smarter watch that showed the time above the hotbar. That's better than the clock that stayed in the game. This rejection kinda makes sense. They didn't like the suggestion that staring at the sun, just like in real life, should give you a blindness effect. The only way to get this effect currently is from the unused Illusioner or from a specific type of suspicious stew. The thirst bar was also rejected, since it would just be too much to manage with the hunger bar as well. You'll also be happy Mojang rejected this idea. When it starts to rain, torches could lose brightness or even burn out. Having to reignite these things over and over again would be such a pain, but more reason to use glowstone or sea lanterns. This feature was in an April Fool's update, and it was genuinely considered 13 years ago, but luckily Mojang came to their senses and it won't ever be in the main game. We all know that torches break in water. This can be both useful and an absolute pain. When it gets annoying, underwater torches could be the solution. They could be, but Mojang restricted them to the Education Edition. They're made with a torch and magnesium. In real life, magnesium and iron oxide create thermite, which burns underwater. So many chemistry facts in one video. You can use sodium to make blue underwater TNT too. Speaking of torches, Mojang also added colored torches to the Education Edition. Blue, red, purple, and green ones are made using metal chlorides. They don't even emit colored light, so they're a bit of a scam. Torches used to burn out after a while for April Fool's 2013. They were going to burn out after the 2010 Halloween update, with lanterns replacing normal torches, but luckily this never happened. Another educational item that Mojang won't give us in the main game is super fertilizer. Using ammonia and phosphorus, make this stuff to produce more flowers in a larger area than bone meal when used on grass. It grows trees and crops instantly when used, instead of after a few uses, like how bone meal used to work, before Mojang made it slightly worse. And finally, this is the chalkboard. In 2016, it was accidentally added to Pocket Edition Alpha while developing Education Edition. This means they used to be obtainable in regular worlds, but can now only be obtained using glitches or inventory editors. There are 3 sizes and can be written on like a giant sign. In the old Education Edition, there were big signs, which were comically wide and looked really funny. Wow, that was a lot. Thank you so much for watching the whole hour. For even more, here's this video about all the secret features hidden in the game.